Hello and welcome back to My Mom's Basement and a very special edition of My Mom's Basement where we're kind of free swimming again. We're in between a couple shows. House of the Dragon's over, The Acolyte's over, The Penguin has not yet arrived, although Caped Crusader has. I'll get to that in a little bit. But Clem, how are we doing?
Doing good. Lots of fun, obviously, in the basement the last few months. Lots of work, lots of just having to grind out some stuff in the easiest way possible, obviously. So kind of nice to not have commitments and kind of just let it fly, let it rain. So feeling good. Bob, someone was asking me recently, they said, hey, would you guys ever think about doing like a rewatchables, recrotchables version of basement movies? And I said we kind of did that back in the pandemic where we got into some stuff. And then when I learned you hadn't watched Road Trip, we did the road trip version of that as well. Movie that I wonder if you've seen. I feel like you have seen it, but I've been meaning to ask. I was going to say originally, what was the movie that caused a bunch of controversy? There was one recently that caused controversy at Barstool. And you told me you had seen it. So whatever it was, I can't remember. Have you seen Lebowski yet?
Oh, yeah, but
Okay.
not until like a couple years ago. My fiance, I like saying that now, was the first one that said, oh, you got to see this. And
Yeah.
like she showed it to me and I thought it was great. Yeah, I thought it was hysterical.
That is very much, I think, up the Bob Fox alley. And I got myself a little. They have the dude toy, where it's like a little Woody where you pull the string.
I saw that.
He has like 13 catchphrases, and AJ, it's like his favorite thing in the world. So he's just pulling it. He doesn't know what any of the context means. He won't for at least another like 10 years or so, God willing. So I was like, I got to make sure Bob has seen of the Big Lebowski, because we did Road Trip and Boogie Nights. Those are two of our rewatches that I had a lot of fun doing. So we'll figure some stuff out, and like you said, we'll free swim in the meantime.
Yeah, and like, something comes up like Deadpool, we went back and did the X-Men movies. Like I could see for Superman next year, maybe going back and doing a Superman movie or something like that. I actually had the idea while cutting a clip from last week's show, or we did it on Sunday, so it's kind of like last week, this week, whatever. Our last show, you showed off some of your comic books, and you showed off not only some of the floppies that you bought, but you got the graphic novels, and you said you're going to read those. And I thought in my head, what if we did like a comic book club? I think we've mentioned that before, but we tell all the listeners, all right, everyone go out and get Secret Wars. We're all going to read it. And then we'll have Jose on and we'll like all break it down as like, we'll break it down like it's a movie.
That's a great idea. I like that. And anytime we get Jose involved in the pod is
We got it.
he'll be
If we're
breathing
doing like
heavy
a comic
for
book
that.
club, we got to have him in because it's like, why would you do it without the smartest man in the room? It's like Reed Richards.
I like that.
We're also going to do something new today. We're going to have someone from Barstool on, a producer from Barstool named Ben Klein, who actually like wrote and directed. I believe he wrote it. He definitely directed his first ever feature film. So he did the thing that like I dreamed of doing when we're kids, where it's like, go make a movie with your friends, shoot the whole thing. He was editing, colorizing, like he had his hands in every facet of this movie. And now he's submitting it to festivals. He's got a big premiere in the city, August 24th, that I'll be going to, and a bunch of people from Barstool are going to be going to support him. I mean, he shot a ton of videos that you've seen, I'm sure, the Barstool basketball videos from this year. He's got big involvement in the rundown every day. He shot my Roadhouse video as well with Conor McGregor and Jake Gyllenhaal and all that. So we're going to have him on and just talk about like what it's like to be kind of like in the film business a little bit. He's doing the damn thing. He was also a production assistant on Madam Web. So we got to ask about that as well.
Yeah, very cool. It always blows my mind when now that we've been at Barstool for a while now, and it was just a bunch of idiots leading idiots. Now we have actually talented people helping out. So it's, guys like Ben. I always think like Nick Hammy was one of the alpha beings in this all. Trey. There's just so many. I can just keep going on and on. But basically, the dumbest people at the company are the ones in front of the camera. It's all the people behind the camera that make the shit good. So I checked out the trailer. It's called Wasted. And it's just a trip. I'm just like, I can't believe we have someone who knows how to do this. Got good reviews so far on IMDb. So
I know he's won a couple awards already. He won an award for like best first time director.
That was the best part of the trailer, is he had the fancy like award with the little leaves that you think Cannes or some fancy festival that I can't pronounce. So it was very cool to see a Barstool person do that. Yeah, I've worked with Ben with the Rundown. I've been on a bunch of times, and always good. So always makes us look good.
So before we get to that, we're going to do like a little abbreviated My Mom's Basement episode because we got some travel going on. I got some travel going on tomorrow. I'm actually going to the PFL. The PFL playoffs are continuing tomorrow, August 16th. It's on Friday. Great fights. Usually you don't get fights on Friday. It's like, especially in MMA, they're all on Saturday night. But we've got light heavyweights and lightweights headed to Hollywood, Florida. I'll be headed to Hollywood, Florida as well with Big Ev and Jack Mack. It's win or go home as these fighters compete for a spot in the $1 million PFL World Championship. Don't miss the action. Friday, again, tomorrow, August 16th, 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN and ESPN Plus. And if you're looking to attend, there's still tickets available. So you can come to the fights. You can see these awesome matchups. There really are awesome matchups. We're going to see like the PFL debut of Danny Sabatello. We've got a great Brent Primus versus Clay Collard fight. Rob Wilkinson is on the card. It's going to be really, really good. I think there's going to be a lot of finishes on the card as well. Again, tune in Friday, August 16th at 9 p.m. Eastern on ESPN Plus, or if you're in the Fort Lauderdale, Hollywood, Florida area, tickets are still available.
I had a blast with the Olympics this year. I just loved having them around, always just as an option. And I think the time difference helped, and the streaming has gotten so much better than since the last Olympics, and the one for that for sure. And then we have the World Cup, which I feel like we all just throw some flags on us, go to the bars, have a blast. We have 2 more summers that need to get filled because baseball is just so dead, the literal dog days of summer. I feel like I'm trying to figure out which sports could do it, and it'd have to be like worldwide, or maybe we do like a real life Hunger Games battle royale with like cage fighters, right? So like the PFL could do something like that. And I mean, we wouldn't maybe murder, but like you have 100 people and like last to survive, and that would last somehow 2 weeks.
Referee stoppages instead of murder.
Exactly. So hey, I'm just throwing that out there for anyone that maybe wants to like become the head of a sports franchise as big as the Olympics and the World Cup. That is my free nugget for the day. Half-baked idea.
Also, I should mention, we did an interview this week, an hour and 10-minute long interview. It might be the longest interview in My Mom's Basement history with Robert Eiler, a.k.a. AJ Soprano. He came into the office. He was doing KFC Radio and our podcast. We each had him slotted for like 45 minutes, a half an hour, and we each did over an hour with him. He was just such an easy guy to talk to. He's such a big stoolie, so he's very aware of all the inner workings of Barstool and the inner rivalries and stuff. We talked about that. I had Glenny Balls on the show, of course. Glenny was in the office. How could you not have Glenny in on a Sopranos interview when you have an actor from the Sopranos in? And Robert Eiler even seemed like stoked to meet him. He walked into the room. He was like, "Oh, Glenny." Like they've obviously like sort of passed each other on the internet, but never met for real. So go check that out if you're a Sopranos fan. If you don't want the Sopranos spoiled for you, though, I think it goes without saying, don't watch this interview. It's been 20 years. I know we talk about like the Sopranos ending and stuff.
So we're going to keep this video. We'll keep a video exclusive. The Sopranos, the interview.
It's on the podcast feed as well.
Okay, cool. So, my favorite part about AJ, I'm just gonna have to call him AJ. Let's be honest.
Yeah,
is he's like a diehard stoolie. You said he's asking you like, "Oh, you're in Survivor." He says, "I know." He's saying he would wait. He'd be one of the ones like waiting on the like YouTube premieres for like the countdowns and then watching it all, probably in the chats, running amok. So that's very cool. My wife was stoked when she saw it. Obviously, she's watching Sopranos for the first time, and so definitely check it out. It's awesome.
So one of the news stories that I want to get to right away here is a funny one. Very funny to me. You know, Sony hasn't been the best with their Spider-Verse. The animated movies, amazing. You know, couldn't be better. But the actual Venom-verse, Villain-verse, Morbius-verse, whatever you want to call it, it's been bad. It has been really, really bad. They got Craven the Hunter coming out. I think it's rated R, Aaron Taylor Johnson. It's like everything on paper seems like it should work, except the Sony inclusion and involvement. The new trailer came out this week. When did it come out? At 3:30 in the morning Eastern Standard Time, 12:30 a.m. LA time, and 8:30 a.m. London time? Jeff was tweeting all the time codes because like none of them were the ideal time zone to put a trailer out. It's like a Friday news dump. But they're like, let's just slide this trailer in and hope nobody notices. But people noticed because Rhino's in the trailer. He looks horrendous. He's like a real rhino morph half being. I don't know what it is. But Sony is allegedly so happy with this movie, Craven the Hunter, that they're already working with the director again on some murder mystery movie, not superhero related, inspired by Succession. So I'm not saying that's going to be horrible because like I get that. Even like the writer of The Dark Knight has some bad credits on his resume, whatever. But like, what? Everything about this movie that I've seen looks horrible.
I'm at the point now where I feel like Sony is tanking their Spider-Man,
Yeah.
non-Spider-Man franchises. Like they have the animated ones, awesome. Anything where like Kevin Feige holds their hand through everything, awesome. And then it's like when they're on their own. And I saw Nick Hamilton was talking with someone, and I think they were going back and forth. And they were saying like, I think they have to make a new one like every year or something in order to keep the license. And I think what Sony's like grand plan is making them so bad that Marvel's like, listen, we'll just pay you $5 billion literally just for Spider-Man. Like, and in perpetuity, you can make some sort of like money off the back end. So you're still cashing in, but for the love of God, stop like butchering this universe and everything we hold dear to it. So I'm convinced, like, again, that's like a stanza-ing where he would, trying to get fired from the Yankees, he would take the World Series trophy and drive in the parking lot with it dragging from the back of his car. I think they're doing that at this point because like the timestamps is so egregious and dumb. And again, idiots from Barstool doing that. All right, makes sense.
Oh, they gave you the thumbs up, not thumbs up, Sony. Thumbs down.
Sony.
Yeah, that was bad. Another Marvel related story that I found funny was that, not the first part's funny, Fantastic Four coming to Fortnite, to be expected. At this point, they're trying to get everyone in Fortnite. The whole Marvel universe has basically been in Fortnite. But the thing that I found funny about it is that there was a clip of Galactus destroying worlds in Fortnite. Kevin Feige said he showed the clip to the Fantastic Four team, the directors, and all that for inspiration. I think he was like, you got to pull this shit off in the movie. What they're doing in Fortnite. So once again, Disney is taking their massive tentpole franchises and they're going, we got to Fortnite this shit. Not only the Emperor we bring back in Fortnite, but maybe Galactus we bring back in Fortnite.
Imagine
also in Fortnite, the things remains, like his dusty remains, the orange ash, are just sitting in Doctor Doom's throne room. Metal.
Wow. Imagine if that's how they're like, oh no, like the entire Fantastic Four origin story and basically the like introduction to the movie is in Fortnite. You have to play it and complete the entire quest in order to know what the hell is going on. Because Star Wars literally did that, which is just so fucking funny. This thing, I think the update is called Absolute Doom, and it looks like it's just straight up a Marvel game because you're like acting as the players and you're able to, it looks like, do all their different superpowers. And I saw Captain America, War Machine.
And some of this Marvel stuff's been in the game for a while. I know the Thanos and stuff, but like you've been able to use Cap Shield and stuff, and like there's been Marvel weapons in the game for a long time, right?
Yeah, and this seems very much like there's the villains. I saw Mysterio was there, Doom is there, maybe Emma Frost. I don't know, and they're definitely like loading up. They've had the X-Men for sale again. You're looking at a Fortnite player, honestly, maybe one of the top 10 Fortnite players currently in the thing because I'm 50% victory royals at this point whenever I play. Whenever I fire it up with a 6 or 9-year-old, I win 50% of the time. So we are fucking stoked in the Casa de Club right now to get this update. They've been waiting for August 16th. They keep checking. They're idiots. They don't know how calendars work. So they're like, is it today? I'm like, no, you morons. We have one more day. So we are fired up for this. Big time. Big time.
There we go. I'm not a Fortnite player myself, but I've said it before. I'll say it again. Every time I see a character brought into Fortnite, not just Marvel characters, the designs are unreal. I'm like, oh my God, like it's so cool. The Ninja Turtle designs were so cool. The Batman, all the Marvel designs. Magneto looks like a badass in Fortnite. So I respect that they do all the characters justice.
I'm telling you, if you played Fortnite back when it was hard and like all these video game guys were like building houses and you couldn't hit them, play again. It's mostly just bots and other kids. You could just smoke everyone and you get like the dopamine rush from winning. And you're like, oh, this is as if I had won it 5 years ago. It's awesome.
I got to get into that because right now I'm still playing the Spider-Man games. I 100%ed the first one, 100%ed Miles Morales, and now I'm on to Spider-Man 2, which is very fun because they're both in the game, Peter and Miles. Mm-hmm. So you'll see like, oh, there's a robbery happening on top of a roof, and you swing over there, and then Miles meets you, and you're both kicking ass together, and you're doing double team moves. It's like you're the Legion of Doom all of a sudden. It's awesome. And also the new Star Wars game, Star Wars Outlaws, which kind of has like Grand Theft Auto-y Outlaws vibes, comes out at the end of this month. So like I'm kind of like prepping for that. I'm getting really excited for that. Another news story, we've got the rumored plot details of the Kang Dynasty. And I don't know whether or not to believe this because From what I remember, this is kind of recycled as the rumored plot details for Deadpool 3. I remember reading this and people being like, this is what Deadpool 3 is going to be about. But basically, the rumor is that the Kang Dynasty was going to feature the TVA assembling a team of anchor beings, like the best hero from every multiverse, to take on the army of Kangs or the Council of Kangs. I believe that was the original thought for why this Wolverine was different and this Wolverine had like a yellow suit. I thought people were like, that's the best Wolverine ever, which funny if you've seen the movie. It is quite the opposite. But yeah, I don't know how much to believe that. I do have fun. You texted me this and you said, like, has this been confirmed or anything? I was like, no, but we could talk about it because I do find it fun to even read like fan theories and stuff like that, where it's like, even if it's bullshit, it's fun to think, oh, maybe that could have been like the movie. And like, that could have been a decent movie if that was the concept of a movie like that.
Yeah, I went to like the YouTubers are all pumping it out as if it's gospel at this point. You know, your new rock stars and Screen Crush. So I'm like, oh, okay. I don't know if that's a thing. I always go to my heavy spoilers. I didn't see anything for him, so I'm like, until my guy says it, and or at least at the theory time, I'm not going to believe it. It looks perfectly fine. I wouldn't have been Avengers. Like it's going to be so hard. Endgame and Infinity War set the bar so high. Could have at least cleared the first Avengers, maybe, I guess. But you know, I think the Secret Wars has it's like the story they follow, you know, loosely, and then it's a matter of which characters are going.
Got to get them to Battle World, and eventually we'll get to it. Do they do? This is what I'm curious about, because I also read that whatever villains Sony uses, they block Marvel from using the same ones. So like the inclusion of Rhino in the new movie means that they can't use Rhino in the MCU. They can't do Secret Wars without giving Peter Parker the symbiote, though, right? Like we got a little bit of it in No Way Home at the end or whatever, but they have to give him the black suit, like Tom Holland, the black suit.
And that was in the script. That says that was a part of it for sure. So, I mean, I also kind of would love if this rumor goes every like big movie release. It's like, oh, it's going to be these alpha, because it's like when you ever see that fake meme or where it's like this athlete broke both legs in a car accident.
Yeah.
And then I never forget, Tiger Woods, the report came out and KFC was like, oh, I'm not buying this one. And everyone was like, oh my God, you're so insensitive. And he's like, dude, this has been an interview for like 20 years and it actually happened to like top 5 biggest athlete in the world. It was fucking crazy how it all happened.
All right, we're going to bring on Ben, but first, let's tell everyone about Butcher Box. Butcher Box is incredible, and they have incredible deals on premium cuts. You find high-quality meat and seafood you can trust, 100% grass-fed beef, free-range organic chicken. They've got pork-raised, crate-free, and wild-caught seafood delivered straight to your door. Always be prepared with meat in the freezer and get curated tips and recipes based on your box. Butcher Box is awesome for barbecues in the summer, stocking up on the stuff to throw on the grill, dinner parties, watching sports. I mean, even for a movie. I mean, make a movie party, cook up a nice steak, cook up some nice fish, chicken, whatever you want. Butcher Box has for you, and their prices are hard to come by at the grocery store as well. So choose from ground chicken, ground sirloin, or ground pork for free in every order for a year. Plus, get $20 off your first order with code BASEMENT or visit butcherbox.com/basement. That's up to $236 in savings for the year. Again, that's code BASEMENT or visit butcherbox.com/basement to redeem your offer now. It's great stuff. It really is. All delicious. It's like you're excited when you get the Butcher Box because you're like, oh, what are we eating this week now? It's great.
You need protein, man. That's the biggest thing in life. As I've gotten older, just some good protein. Yeah, Bob, those looking at flexing. Oh, this is why you got to sign up for the videos.
You see the Flintstones gummies in the background.
That's saying that that's a man getting his wedding body together. That's how. Lady Fox. Those pythons on his.
All right, let's bring on Ben Klein from Barstool. So, Ben, we gave a little bit of an intro for the movie.
Clap it up. We have to clap it up for the
big director, big-time director. We're doing great. And look, both Yankees hats. This is great. Clem, where's your Yankees hat? Oh, forgot. Sorry.
Fire, sewer. I don't know.
So we gave a little bit of an intro. We told the people it's called Wasted. But since we have a big-time director on, I want to use some industry terms. So give us the elevator pitch for your movie.
Sure. So Wasted is a miracle. It was made by a couple of passionate college students. We shot it like 15 months ago in our last semester of college, and we shot it for $1,000 budget. Which I looked at. There's a power drill, by the way. I don't know if you guys can hear that. The
No, you're
office
at the
is like
Barstool office always. Yeah, people know
exactly
that.
to
Yeah.
be expected.
Yes.
So we were frustrated that my friends Blake and Jared, who are amazing and super talented, we were frustrated that like anyone who's made a movie that takes place in college post COVID, it doesn't actually capture how things really changed after college students were shut down for a year and a half. And we were like, why not us? We have the camera equipment, we can borrow whatever we need. So we actually didn't even own a camera the whole shooting. We kind of borrowed and outsourced from Facebook groups and local community members at University of Wisconsin Madison. But in terms of elevator pitch and just like what the movie's all about, it's about a college freshman, Alex Wilder, who doesn't love his friends. He feels like they're nerdy and that he has the opportunity to be cool. And he wants to have that authentic American college experience of going to a keg party, drinking too much, and hooking up with girls. And he's not getting that from his theater friend group. So he starts pursuing this fraternity crowd that is very corrupt and has some dark secrets. And we watch his story unfold, and he goes down a dark path. And you'll see how things actually play out for
Yeah, no spoilers because I
Wilder in the
wanna
movie
I
itself,
wanna
of
see the
course.
movie. I want to be surprised. Yeah, but is this like so? You didn't have really any budget, like you said. You shot it on $1,000.
None.
I love stories like this. I love Kevin Smith and his story of shooting Clerks for 27,000.
Mhm.
You're making that even more micro on a scale of this. But
Post
this movie,
inflation, Bob. Post inflation.
did you write and direct or just direct?
I didn't write. We had two screenwriters, Charlie Kep and Zachary Orlowski, two guys. One of them's my age, and which is 23. One of them's 2 years younger than me, and they're both super talented. So what I did is my co-director Blake Switzer, who's super talented. He's in the YouTube game and killing it. And Jared Rosenthal, who's the executive producer, who pretty much he's a genius at putting people together. He can. The famous moment I always say is like, there's a scene in a boxing ring that I came up with, or that we came up with like 2 hours before we were going to shoot it. And I call him up. I'm like, could you get me a boxing ring for free? And he was shooting something in Arizona at the time. He calls me 20 minutes later. He's like, yep, you'll go to this place in Madison, Wisconsin. They're boxing ring. They'll let you shoot there for free. And anyway, we went through scene by scene, and I created a format where we created an objective for the scene being like, all right, Alex meets this character, and then action, or we did bullet points saying, all right, he walks into the story, blah, 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 he meets these people, he says this, and then we gave that to the screenwriters. They turned out a phenomenal script, and then we had a famous week, or not famous, between 12 friends. We had a week where we went to the business school and we all went into a classroom and had a massive whiteboard and essentially went scene by scene, because this is what I think I really brought to the table, where I just get very obsessive over making sure everything's motivated. Like, my biggest pet peeve of any movie is when like a character just does something out of the blue and it doesn't make sense for what has been developed. I want it to be, whether it's subtle or not, I'm down to surprise the viewer, and we definitely surprised the viewer with a couple of decisions we made. But I don't want it to be just like, why the hell did he just make that decision? So really went scene by scene, planted things early that pay off later. And I think that last week really elevated the film to a special level, because I think we made a really excellent product, especially given, like, regardless of the budget. But when you factor in the budget, I'm super proud of what we made.
It's very cool. It's literally the stuff that like I wanted to do when I was a kid, watching like documentaries about how they made Star Wars. Like, oh my God, imagine making a movie with my friends and like doing a big premiere. You're doing a big premiere in the city, August 24th. There's the details on the Wasted Instagram and all that. Now, in terms of putting together a movie with good motivations, good characters, good script, you've also worked on a movie that had none of those things. Madam Web. And not Madam Web it wasn't like it was Ben's fault that the movie didn't perform well at the box office or anything.
It was all
but this was
Come
like
on, Robbie.
one of the first things I feel like we
honest.
talked about was you were like, yeah, I was a production assistant on Madam Web. I think it was like a topic on the rundown at some point, and we talked about this. But yeah, you actually were on Madam Web for a little bit.
Yes, I mean, the only like I've learned so much from being a production assistant. It's really like you're the bitch of the set. You're getting coffee. I had to unclog toilets and for other shoots. You know, like you got to do really
Yeah.
terrible things.
Sydney
But
Sweeney
you
clogged the
learn so
toilet.
much.
Bob, we have our lead for the episode. Put it at.
Would have been sprinting. So my job for Madam Web. So they shot most of it in Boston actually, but they had that ambulance chase scene. It's about like 5 minutes into the movie. It's very early. It's like the first action sequence in the film. They shot it on Jerome Avenue in the Bronx, and my job was I was at the bottom, southernmost point of the street. And you know, for a chase scene, this is a real street in the middle of the Bronx. You can't, you know, these cars are going. They speed it up, but they were going like 40 miles per hour. You can't have pedestrians or bicyclists going down there because it could, you know, it could be a serious accident. So my job is to lock up this block. And believe it or not, a lot of the people in the Bronx didn't want like a skinny white Jewish kid telling them you can't walk down your own street. So I had to be like, excuse me, you know, please don't go. You know, it was a lot of back and forth, but that was funny, and you know, no one was hurt. Thankfully, I was able to utilize Spanish skills, which was great.
Nice.
Nice.
But what I found interesting about the shoot, and I looked it up, and I actually think it is frequent, but at my 23-year-old self, aspiring director, this really baffled me that the director wasn't on set. Where this was like you know, it's an action sequence. So I'm sure wrote it up, had a shot list, and I'm sure it turned out exactly how she wanted, or you know, or as she would hope the best it could be. And I think it was actually a good sequence, and I actually enjoyed the movie. It was fun, albeit you're buying into, you know, the terrible ADR and some of the flaws with it. But you know, I actually did have a fun time watching it in the theater with a couple of friends of mine. But anyway, she wasn't there, and you know, I thought that was interesting because at my age and my dream of being a director, it's just like if I ever am shooting a fucking Marvel movie, I would, you know, there's no way I wouldn't be on the set every chance I could get. So I found that to be kind of interesting. But you know, God bless her, she's talented. I never met her. Wishing her the best. I'm sure that there's a million reasons why that could have happened. So not to pass judgment.
Is there any truth that they didn't have a whiteboard? They just had one piece of loose leaf paper and they would just like cross it out and put stuff in terms of the stuff? Can you confirm or deny, or neither?
Pleading the fifth.
Okay, fair enough. Then. He's wise. This guy's ready, man. This guy's ready
for Hollywood. He's ready for Hollywood. Yeah, we gotta like lock him down with a lifetime contract because he's gonna be in Hollywood like next week or something. Also, though, you've been shooting the Pup Punk stuff. You've been on tour with us, which has been fun.
Yes, that's been so much fun. I haven't really had that much still experience, but shot a bunch of photos for Chicago, and I had so much fun taking those and looking through them. It's really like it's like a personal lottery where like I think I took like 2,500 photos on that one concert, and you're just like clicking through, waiting to see. It's like shit. You know, and then when you find one that hits, it's a great feeling.
That, and you're working on now minute movies with Tommy, one a week, right?
Yes, one a week. The vision is it's I know he's kind of a controversial figure, but I love his movies. Woody Allen, he once said in a interview, if you do he's like, if I do one movie a year, one of them's going to be good. You know, that's kind of a very simple approach. So if we do one short a week, one of them's going to be good. You know, we slap them together. We let the people decide. They pick the words, they comment, and they like their favorites, and then we are stuck with whatever words they have. And you know, it's like a fun kind of prism to get creative with, where we made a medieval drama where Meek Phil and Clemmer, who's the maester, turned their back on King Bartholomew, played by Tommy. You know, we did the Plumbus Spelling Bee, where Francis is a spelling bee pronouncer.
Marty was good in that.
Yeah. So, you know, we're learning. This week, we're actually shooting it in like an hour and a half. Our words are gyat, Worcestershire, as in like the sauce and place in England, and divorce. So excited for you guys to see what we make there.
That's a good tease. So you got the teases down too. This guy, we're telling you, one of the most talented behind the scenes guys at Barstool, and he's got a movie coming out. So can people come to the premiere? Like people listening to this?
Yes, anyone can come to the premiere. So to tell you about the event, it's my challenge was I want to have as many people as possible see the movie, and as a cinephile, I want it in a theater because that's the optimal place for viewing. I don't want people on their phones. So the challenge is it's hard enough to get people in the theater for a fucking Marvel movie today. You know what I mean? So let alone my $1,000 budget passion project, which is great. And once they're there, they'll love it. But, you know, getting people in seats is a daunting task. So what I'm trying to do is shift it to make it more of a exciting New York City nightlife event where you show up at 7:30 to Village East by Angelica, which is an unbelievable theater, and it's going to be a keg party. We're going to have like 7 or 8 kegs for all party attendees. We're going to have beer, hard seltzer, you name it. And, you know, which is very on theme because of all the keg parties that you see in the movie. And, you know, we're going to party, drink, have a reception. It's going to be a fun hybrid because it's definitely going to be a young crowd. A lot of my friends who are 23 and 24 are going to be there. But then there's also a bunch of older Barstool people and friends in the industry who are going to be attending. But you show up and it's going to be a college party and formal film reception hybrid, which is, I think, perfect for, especially for this movie. You're going to watch the movie. Caroline Banowitz from Barstool is doing an intro.
Nice.
And then after we have an after party. So I'm trying to create a holistic event where it's like you pay for your ticket and you show up, you meet all these cool people, you see a fun movie, you go to an after party, you get your photo taken on like a beautiful step and repeat we're making. And, you know, I think that's the kind of thing that puts butts in seats. Right now we have 150 people going. We're working with our partners to try and increase the capacity because originally 150 was the capacity, but we still have a lot of demand and look, people want to see it. I'm not going to stop them. And I just couldn't be happier to finally show people this. I've never worked on something for this long. I've never worked on something that almost killed me. I pulled probably like 20, 30 all-nighters on this project where, you know, I go into Barstool in the morning, work all day, work on this all night, and walk right into the office like half dead. But, you know, it's the passion that drives me, and this event is kind of the culmination of all of that. So if any of you are listening, it would mean a lot if you came, but who cares about me? You'll have a great time if you come. It's $49 for a ticket. Follow at Wasted Movie on Instagram. So I could afford renting out the theater and the bar. You have to follow Wasted Movie on Instagram, and you know, follow me, Ben S. Klein, for all the updates. And there's a link in the bio at Wasted Movie, where you can RSVP. I would love to have as many, you know, New York listeners of My Mom's Basement there.
Clem, I saw Jackie Aprile Jr. is going to be there.
Really?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not fucking with you.
Yes. Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Jumped that one on my ass. Holy crap.
I know.
We got
I know.
Jackie
You don't know
Jr.
who you're going to see at the Wasted premiere. That's the vibe.
You know, we're actually working on another special guest who told me last night he's 99% to come. When does this come out, Robbie?
Tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
So it
okay.
might be.
So I'll know by Friday. So I'm not going to say it.
All right,
so
don't say it. But that's a tease. You don't know who it could be. Brad Pitt. Ben might be talking about Brad Pitt.
This would be a life changer. This would be unbelievable. Not a life changer, but a life meaning. You know,
he worked on Madam Web. Could be Sydney Sweeney. Could be Dakota Johnson. Could be Ben Wyatt from Parks and Rec. Adam Scott.
There is a non-zero chance that you can be at a keg party with Sydney Sweeney, and that's kind of like everyone's like, I just need the chance. So take the chance on Ben and take a chance on yourself, basically. Wasted.
There we go.
Right. Thank you,
Ben. Thank you for coming on. Everyone, follow Wasted Movie, and hopefully see you at the premiere.